morning. It's Monday, which means it's time for Enterprise at 8. This is Live Long in Podcast Star Trek Enterprise Rewatch series. It's been about 20 years.
20 years?
That's right, Trip. Since tonight's episode, The Breach, first aired, but we're just getting started here at Enterprise at 8. I am not joined by Adam tonight. He's on assignment, secret assignment. We can't discuss it, but it's
Assignment Earth, you might say.
It's not Assignment Earth, though. I can tell you that for sure, because it doesn't suck. But anyway, I'm Jody Simpson, as I said, and of course, I'm joined by some awesome panelists. Let's be honest. Tonight, joining us is Live Long and Podcast awesome producer, and the man who is gonna take out his phase pistol and shoot you in the ass if you don't like Star Trek, Dave Mater.
About 5 seconds. That's what I'll get going on. Yeah, that's me. Thanks, Jody. And yeah, excited to talk about this episode. Never seen this before. This is going to be an interesting one.
It's new ground for you. All right.
New ground.
And,
new underground cave spelunking.
But tonight, Dave, we also have a special guest. One of the hosts from Locutors of Trek's podcast, everybody's cousin, Davan Skelhorn.
Gotta admit, I'm a little miffed that I don't have a shout out in the sweet opening credits.
Well,
yeah,
that's because you're not a normie.
I just noticed
That's
our opening credits still have the old logo, so we might have to update that.
Oh, right, there you go.
We're gonna have
I've loved this episode for a long time because I think every Phlox episode is a great episode of Star Trek.
That's true.
This is another one.
Yeah. Hi, Sam.
And we're streaming live here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, and you can hit us up in the comments, everybody. And hey, Sam, fan number one.
Fan number one, Sam. All right. Let's do this.
Let's talk about it.
All right.
What's there to say?
Okay.
The cold open's good.
Well,
I like the
yeah, let's start with the cold open with Phlox, feeding. It's a Phlox featured episode, and I think every Phlox episode that I've seen has been a good one. He's got all his little things, and we even got a Tribble, guys, for this opening thing,
and the best thing is the look on Hoshi's face when he basically feeds it to something else.
Yeah, he just feeds it to this lizard or whatever.
We never see it.
Yeah, there's the face in question.
Yeah, she's like,
and he's like, "What's up?"
Phlox is fantastic. Old.
That basically explains
scientist.
that. Yeah, the Tribbles are, a species that basically just has sex and eats. That's all they do. So,
yeah,
illegal. We already all knew that, but
right. So
they're not doing the deed there, Jody. They're born pregnant. Tribbles are born pregnant.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that lizard also ate babies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we assume it's a lizard. We don't actually know.
He said reptiles.
Did he say reptile?
On the homeworld of the Tribbles. That's what keeps their population in check on that planet. But once they get off the planet without the reptiles, it's no good. Anyway, this communication we get, I don't know. Like, again, another Enterprise cold open that's not that good. Although this is better, just because it's like Phlox got an email. What could it mean? We don't know. That's your
not
intrigue.
until the end of the credits. We don't.
So like the best part of the cold open was just everything with the Tribble, but it's really got nothing to do with the episode.
Well, it's a teaser. It's a teaser for what the message is, right? Like that's all. It really is.
Yeah. I'd say Enterprise does the
communication from his good friend Dr. Lucas.
Could be, but I just don't think Enterprise does. Most of these teasers for Enterprise
most of the cold opens aren't good.
They're bad. They're just they're just like they lie. They don't even necessarily make me want to watch further.
Which is weird because if you think of the pilot episode's cold open was really good.
Oh yeah, when Clang comes out and it's like a Klingon,
and you're like Klingon. What?
Yeah, right. I don't think every episode has a bad cold open, but I'd say more.
I would say a good 70% of them.
Well, you got to remember, fellas, that the cold open has to match the tone of the opening theme. So if they have a good cold open, it would be a mismatch, and then you'd get "It's Got Faith." And it would
I remember seeing the
completely mismatch
when it was first aired, and I remember seeing that cold open and going, "All right, we got a Klingons. All right, sweet." And then it goes to this song, and then I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, exactly."
kind of growing on me though.
Every cold open musically has to pull into that song. You're right, and it doesn't always seem to work.
It doesn't work very well for most things.
Yeah,
it's easier when you have a non-lyrical song. You know, like every other series.
Number one fan.
Yep.
Fan number one.
So,
but that aside, let's get into the episode itself, which is Enterprise traveling along, and we find out that they have to rescue some Denoblian scientists, 3 Denoblian geologists, I believe, from a cave system.
Yeah, they're basically on an expedition in a cave, and they're doing something. We don't really know what at this point, but they've been sent. Basically, what's happening is the world that they're on has been taken over by a new regime, and that regime is basically a xenophobic race, and they basically have said 3 days and everybody has to be off the planet. So that includes these Denoblians that Denoblia, the Denoblians can't get a hold of, and of course our Enterprise is the closest ship available.
Enterprise is closer than a Vulcan ship, presumably, as well. Or maybe they don't want to ask the Vulcans because they're pains in the ass.
Well, yeah, who wants to ask the Vulcans for anything?
It's not worth it.
You want to owe them a favor?
They're just gonna say no anyway.
Yeah, they're just gonna say no and then make you feel bad.
Yeah. If you didn't suck, you wouldn't have had to ask for help. And so
Kevin is currently celebrating his son's birthday, and Adam
18.
is currently, as I said, on assignment.
That's a lie. It turns out when Kevin and Adam's powers combine, they create the Megazord that is me.
Oh,
I bet you didn't know that.
Yeah, I was supposed to keep that a secret.
Mm-hmm.
And born pregnant thing, Sam, with the triples.
Yeah, all triples are born pregnant.
So it all becomes about like this rock climbing thing, and the fact that Travis Mayweather is more experienced at rock climbing.
Finally they have a use for Travis.
Yeah.
Now that's assuming he doesn't break a leg like he has every other time.
No, he will. He will break his leg. But I was like, he learned to become this massive rock climber on living on a ship that's like pretty small.
They visit a lot of planets though, so he has a lot of experiences.
Yeah,
but they
you're
also need to find
cargo.
skills for him to
you're not hanging around. You're going to get the next load.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
But he's in pretty good shape, that Travis Mayweather. Anyway, and then there's this after they agree, like, okay, Mayweather's the most experienced climber, and he's going to teach Trip and Reed how to like spelunk or whatever. Then there's like this moment here with like Phlox and Archer where he's like, hey, thanks for agreeing to help pick up my Denoblians or whatever. And he's like, yeah, why wouldn't I help pick them up? And he's like, oh, thanks, appreciate it. Anyway, I don't know. And then they show up at this planet, Xanatonus or Xanat, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And so there's kind of like there's going to be two main storylines. There's the one with the guys climbing through the caves. Interestingly enough, they're not taking Phlox with them because you think they'd want a Denoblian to come with them.
Well, yeah, but when you think about it, if he's there, you can't have the other story that's going on in this show. But on top of that, plot. Yeah, but on top of that, then you obviously don't have your medical officer where you would need them the most.
As we find out, Denoblians don't even need climbing gear at all. They're natural climbers.
Climbers,
even rock faces, and so he would have been better suited off.
And we get to see the hot environment suits that they wear when they're on their away missions, which I'm glad that they used them again.
Right.
Which was nice.
A couple of them wearing them for the first time, and you got to bring your own toilet.
Waste disposal units.
What are these for?
We take out everything we bring in.
I love that. That's good though, because it's something you don't
contamination.
But you don't see anything that really expresses that in any of Star Trek. Like bathrooms have always been something. Yeah. But it's like right now it's like they still have to do it, so they still have that mentality, which is nice.
You got any poop you take or pee.
By the 2300s, there's triples and cockroaches and dandelions on every planet, and everyone just doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, everybody's like, every planet's dirty now.
It's too late. It's too late.
How long? How many?
The universe.
Was it like 3 days they were going to be down there, or 3?
Yes.
It's like 3 days, so they definitely.
That's their limit.
Actually, no, it wouldn't have been that long.
Look at that.
It said it's going to take them 2 days to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Tom Paris.
By Tom Paris
Lieutenant
himself,
Tom Paris himself.
This
Yes.
is how they kick ass in the Delta Quadrant, he said. And well, let's get this going. Yeah. So Archer's like, yeah, you got like a time limit because like the planet's regime keeps.
Well, they have
changing.
3 days, but it says it takes them. Their closest ship was 2 days away, which was essentially these guys. So they only have a day.
Yeah.
Day and a half.
And it was like, if you can't find them, you got to turn around and come home, like no matter what, right? And so they all kind of like agree to these terms, more or less. And
Trip's like, I wonder if they got catfish down there.
I wonder.
Pan-fried catfish.
A couple other ships here, but I don't know. I wasn't able to identify it.
What more do you want from an episode, fellas? So a Flux A plot in a Reed Tucker buddy plot for the B plot.
And throw Mayweather into the mix and make him like the
yes, until they
It's not
ditch
bad.
him for a Reed Tucker buddy.
The worst thing about this episode is the fact that we barely get any T'Pol.
Yeah, she's not
no,
in it
that's
too
a-
much. But
I'm telling you, here's the thing. She plays the character well, but the less she's in an episode, the better the episode is usually.
sometimes less is more. And
Yeah.
like I think the way they use her in the flock scene later on in the mess hall, like I think that was really strong, and she didn't have to do much in that scene. So it's sometimes you can I like that they're trying to sometimes use their characters more and not just focus on it all being about Bacula or all being whatever. But
Well, and that is one thing, and that's why it kind of sucks that Kevin isn't here today, because this would be a perfect episode for Kevin because there's barely any Archer in here. Like there's some talking, but there's not.
and
There's
I think
not a
Archer is not too
No,
annoying.
He's
in
got
this.
really good scenes with Flux.
Well, he's got some good
Yeah.
scenes, but there's not. It's not an entire episode of him.
No,
Like,
No.
you don't see a lot of them.
they use him pretty well in the episode, and like later on in the episode where he threatens to declare war on the Zen and Tonus's guys if they don't back off. Like that was great. That was
He's like, you don't want to go to war with us, Captain. She's like, dude, you're already at war with your own
War.
planet.
You wanna go to war
really
with
wanna
us?
be with us too? Like what?
Yeah. Now this is a ship that was disabled or something, right?
This is the ship so this just by happenstance happens to occur where the Enterprise it ends up helping up this race. What do they call it? The Antarans? That's the-
Antarans.
Antarans, yeah.
The Antarans, but this was not part of what the Denoblians had initially asked them to go do, the Enterprise to go do. But this is they just end up in this, and we see a bunch of different aliens getting triaged here. Phlox is running around, trying to help. A lot of different species on display, and then whoever this guy is, this ensign, I guess, or crewman, he comes in. He's like, "I got the most injured guy here with the radiation poisoning," and having never seen this episode before, I didn't understand what was going on.
No, and I don't think you're supposed to because none of us did.
Because it's a great episode.
Phlox just looks at him with like this horror and like
He's got this kind of disdain horror to him, yeah.
like he doesn't know how to react. He's almost shocked a little bit that to be faced with this, and so he says, "Well, put him into the whatever thing, the anti-radiation tube thing."
Their version of an MRI,
Right.
Yeah.
And there's just kind of like this moment here, and then it cuts away, and we don't really know why. But speaking of which, back to the caves, and this is the beginning of that cave journey where we see the CGI walking of the three guys. Always my favorite.
the bane of Dave's
That's the
existence is
CGI and the
walking.
matte painting.
Yeah. Oh, this is a lot of great technologies coming together. Yeah. Anyway,
It looks fine.
it looks amazing. It's
I wouldn't say
awesome.
amazing, but it looks fine.
I think we should like pull it out as a clip and say like this is like the pinnacle of special effects, guys. But here's the
Terminator
fact.
2 and then this.
Yeah.
yeah,
So we get
that makes sense.
we get these guys that we get Trip and Reed and Mayweather. Mayweather's like, I bet you I would be willing to bet if we had money still
Mhm.
on Earth.
Now, do you think this is the real Reed? Because he's going into a cave without a gun drawn. Like, is
Well,
this Reed? Are we sure?
he's got
Oh, yeah, it's Reed.
Okay.
He's got
And
one
then-
on him. That's for sure.
a lot of it like this is just three guys with flashlights in the dark through these caves. Like for better or worse. I do like this like whole flashlight that's sticking out of the backpack. I'm imagining.
Well, Adam would tell you it's still better than the one from TNG.
the one they have to hold all the time.
The hand bar thing, yeah.
Yeah, that was no good.
That or they just shoot a rock with their phaser so it glows.
That works everywhere, you know. There isn't a single rock in the universe that can't be heated up by a phase pistol.
Right, exactly. Make a little fire. And so like I don't know, and Trip was just like, hey man, like Trip's making a lot of jokes. Trip's not too happy, I think, to be on this mission, you know.
No, you
Last
get the
cave I was
impression
in had handrails.
Yeah.
Gift shop.
Gift shop,
Snack bar.
snack bar.
Hmm?
But you know, he wants a
Pan fried catfish.
and catfish. He sees this cliff here he has to go down.
Peach
Isn't there a beginner's cliff we can start on?
A beginner's cliff he wants.
This is a serious thing to send people on who've never climbed before, though. Like Captain
Oh,
Archer's
yeah.
being a bit reckless here.
Yeah, like
I know,
Mayweather's fine, but like
one
the other
expert,
two
but,
are like
like-
screwed here, right? Like,
Yeah.
And it reminds me of this another Voyager episode. It's the one with the Ponfar and B'Elanna Torres and all
Oh,
that, right?
yeah.
And it was another rock climbing episode. Tom
Where
Paris
she's
is-
skydiving because she wants to like. No. I'm thinking.
No. This is the one with Vorik, the Vulcan.
Oh yeah,
and-
yeah.
It's like season 3, and like Tom Paris is in the episode quite a bit, along with Neelix and whatever, and they were in their climbing thing. So it's got some similarities to that, just in that they're doing this cave.
and yet
climbing.
Tom Paris is the one who directed this episode.
and Tom Paris, Robert Duncan McNeil directed this episode.
Perhaps
There
there's
was a
something
cave.
there.
But there is this whole like comment. Where is it about the footing? Watch your footing. I thought I had an image of it because it comes up later, basically that Trip's the one who, you know, is or is it Reed, who like ends up causing their fall later on in the episode where they almost nearly all die.
Yeah, it was Reed.
I think it was Reed, right?
Yeah.
You know, and
Well,
he's just-
everything's Reed's fault for the most part.
yeah, Reed was like, well, maybe I could die here on this rock falling down a
Reed-
cliff.
Reed's great.
Reed,
always looking
Reed
for-
just has a death wish.
He just wants to know, would this be how I die? Maybe, you know. So-
Other than Phlox, he's the funniest character in this show. Reed's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, the problem is that one of them was written to be funny. The other one was Malcolm.
He's got good
He may
comedy
actually
with
be
Trip,
funnier
I
than
think, and but I think like
He's a funny guy in real life.
being just he's funniest when he's just a stuck-up British guy to me, but he's just like, you can't be doing that.
He's funny to me whenever he's like, let's just shoot.
Yeah, Reed alerts. That's from
There's a lot of good Reed stuff later in the series.
It is. That's true. Yeah.
So back to the Phlox storyline, and so we find out this Antaran guy has radiation poisoning, and basically Phlox explains to Archer that he's not going to be too happy to see me when he wakes up, and that there's kind of like a history between our peoples, lots of war. Because he looks at Phlox and goes, "What's he doing here?" And
Archer's
yeah,
more confused
recently,
because
he's like, no, it was like 300 years ago. He's like, well, what's the problem? Like, in this timeline here, the eugenics wars just ended like 30 years ago. So that's
100,
true.
100 and something years.
well,
ago.
100 and some years. Yeah.
was it?
It was about 100 years
Yeah, 'cause
after.
they were in the 90s, weren't they?
Yeah, like starting in the
Yeah,
90s at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like World War III was not that long ago either.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So like humans were killing each other way sooner than that.
In the billions, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think
Uh,
Archer's more confused as to why this is possible when every Denoblian he's ever met has a weird smile. He's
Yeah.
like, aren't you guys just happy all the time?
Yeah. And he's kind of perplexed by this conflict that
It's like, so you're saying I'm barely in this episode. So
yeah,
you're saying-
he's saying so he talks
you
about like,
sure?
well, you have a medical obligation to treat him, and he's like, I can't treat him if he doesn't want me to treat him. Phlox says
Hippocrates wasn't a Denobulan.
Hippocrates, the Hippocratic Oath does not apply to Denoblians, and the will of the
The
patient.
will of the patient is the cornerstone of Denobulan medical ethics.
There you go. So if he doesn't want it, he doesn't want it, and this is why. What a good solution to this would be like, why don't you just carry more than one doctor, Enterprise?
But they had
Whatever.
a second doctor. Surely they can't carry two doctors.
They
with this
have
skill.
they have doctor's aides,
No,
but they
like,
only have one doctor.
this ship is terribly understaffed. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yes, but that's a
Uh,
constant throughout the show.
Yeah, like
But
there's
that's
only
the
one.
whole point.
They could have brought a second doctor. There's 80 crewmen. You can fit two doctors in those 80 crewmen, I think. Take one less technician, bring 2 doctors.
Well,
you
they
need
have
all
like
the
5
technicians.
people on board just to replace Malcolm. So, like, come on.
Yeah, like it's still astonishing to me they didn't bring a human doctor on this mission. And
Like,
then
he didn't have one. Remember that
and he
first
didn't even
episode?
have
He was
one.
like
He
about
didn't
to
even
leave. He's like,
there was nobody
you
even
there,
looking
doctor,
to go.
I see.
But
Would you like to be on my ship?
yeah, hey, random alien guy around the room. You want to come with me? Sure.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
Dr. Wright.
He's like, I got nothing to do.
Yeah, there was not a human doctor on Earth that wanted to go. So
Pussies.
yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so
That's the problem.
so he says, I might have to order you. And he's like, well, if you order me, I'll refuse. And there's a lot of tension here between Archer and
He does
Fox.
order him, and he does refuse.
Yeah. And he's like, I might have to put you in irons.
Even more
Might have to
intense.
throw you in
Like,
the
they don't
bin.
even beat around the bush, those two, in this one. They're just like right
No,
at it.
they're at each other's throat for most of
No,
the episode, which is good.
I liked everything with that. It was it all made sense. You could definitely see everybody's point of view.
It really is the primary storyline, even though I don't think it's supposed to be, but it's
Well,
I think
I
it
think
is.
it's the primary.
I think it is. And that's the A plot.
I guess it is. Yeah. Like this is just about like these guys climbing down the cliffs to save some Denoblians.
Trip's like, there better be a catfish stand down there.
Yeah, because that's where the moral comes from. The moral always comes from the A plot.
True.
This is like, these are some deep caves they're going through. For sure. I don't know. This would scare the living daylights out of me because I don't like heights at all. I've never
I'm not
tried
a
to
big
rock
height
climb, but I think. Oh yeah, and then they find the box, guys. The box of rocks, which just looks like a pencil case from like the dollar store or something like
Tackle
that.
box or something like
Could've
that.
been. Yeah,
Could have been.
it's just a box of rocks.
To me, it looks like one of those boxes that like the wet wipes come in for babies.
Yeah, like, to me, it was like a
That's
pencil
weird.
case. I was like, why is there a pencil case?
Someone lost their pencils.
Yeah, so they're like, well, there must that because at this point they have no sign of the Denoblians and they're starting to kind of lose hope. And then they're like, okay, well, this is a breadcrumb or a rock crumb, I guess. So we keep going. And then Archer goes to see the Antaran guy, Hudak, the patient who refuses to be treated by Phlox.
Now,
And-
this I thought was cool because whenever we see anything medical related when it comes to Star Trek, usually we don't see cords, right? And this is clearly, if anybody has ever had a heart monitor on or anything like this, that's exactly what this is. So I've had one of these on me. So it's basically just a full monitor and they attach it to different areas, right? But I just thought it was cool that we got to see that. So we got to see like old technology that they're
The
still
old tech.
using at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like
So-
I guess and it's even got like the pad attached to his neck and everything.
Yeah, I don't know why it would be attached there, but it's, obviously they
Pulse?
just probably did it because they didn't want a cord hanging over the guy's face as he's talking.
I kept being bothered by his chapped lips as I was watching him do his.
He did have
scenes.
some very chapped lips.
Yeah.
I noticed that myself.
Can someone get this man a chapstick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like chapstick doesn't exist, I guess.
Lips.
Yeah.
He's got a Denobulan in the room. God, he's
Yeah.
so
Who
Get
get
him
that
some honey or
Denoblian out of the
something.
room?
Yeah.
So Archer tries to kind of like change this guy's mind, but it doesn't really go very well.
So basically, Archer.
And Archer basically gives up.
Yeah.
After
So
one
if they
attempt.
killed
Again,
millions,
Archer.
And then he throws it onto Phlox. He's like, "You make this work."
yeah.
And I see they still have the stencil for making trills. So that works out well.
Yeah.
Just it's like a stamp
Yeah.
they have probably.
Right. Airbrush it on. Yeah. Anyway, so we get this the next scene is like Archer trying to resolve the ethics of this with Phlox. He's like,
you're the first Denobulan he's ever met. He's just like, yeah, he's the first Antaran I've ever met. What's your point? Like, that's common.
yeah, what did you make of this history, Davan? Like just this 300 years ago, the Denoblians were like waging war on this species.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, you can see that being the Denobuans for one thing. Like, they wouldn't be easy to provoke into a war likely, but I don't think you'd want to be in a war with them.
No,
There's a
because
lot of
once
them.
they're in, they're going to keep going.
Oh yeah, and but also you could see this 300-year separation that they've had easily being a thing. Because say you have this bad blood, as they call it in this episode, but like this crazy traumatic history of like millions of deaths and like experiments and all these crazy things, but it's another planet very far away. You don't have to talk to them if you don't want to.
That's right.
So like, what would be the impetus to go do that rather than some other planet? You know what I mean? So you could see that it was just even by accident, almost that 300-year separation could happen. Not so much by accident, but like like slight, like just a slight. I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for. But,
well, I guess like if you want to compare this to like a real world human sort of allegory, like
deterrent. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry,
deterrent.
So just
But,
just, they have a slight deterrent to like go to that planet. That you could easily just avoid that planet.
They must be those two planets must be close enough to each other though, like that
Probably
to do a war.
Yeah, at that time,
probably like the Vulcans and the Andorians or something.
This war was going on during Earth's Victorian age. Like it was like this is some time ago, and so it's I don't know what their relative technology was at the time, but anyway, like Archer basically tells Phlox to like stop being a coward and go do his job.
But here's the question though: which one's right?
Well, normally, like there wouldn't be just one doctor present, and he wouldn't necessarily.
Regardless.
No, Phlox is right. The will of the patient has to be the primary concern.
Yeah, but he's serving on a Starfleet vessel that has its own set of rules. So
that has to be primary concern for human doctors. Like the Hippocratic Oath thing is like it's one thing, but it's not the like driving, motivating factor for Earth doctors anymore. It's will of the patient. You can't just like go up to somebody and start doing like medical stuff on them.
Well, it's a fundamental problem that Archer doesn't have a Starfleet doctor on his ship that he can give this order to.
It is a bit of a problem.
Medical is severely understaffed. Like, do we ever even see a nurse in there?
Like that guy.
We saw a nurse in this episode.
We think he's a nurse, but we don't even know.
No, there's a girl later on too.
Yeah, but yeah, like it's.
But usually, it's just
there is nursing staff because there was an episode, I think, in the first season where he said something like there was 6 staff or something like that.
Okay.
So he's got medical.
He doesn't sleep, so like people go in there a lot when it's just him because.
But you also have to remember he could also be just the chief doctor. It doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't another doctor.
But we never see another one.
But we never.
And if there was one, you would just reassign him this patient to another doctor that he doesn't object to.
Well,
this I think this might be a fairly complicated thing that maybe like someone with the skill of Phlox has to do. So even if they had another doctor, it still might have to be.
There's no doctor on this planet.
Well, the planet's irrelevant at this point because everybody's leaving the planet.
Yeah,
so
it's political upheaval.
I think there's other doctors perhaps around.
I'm sure they could come across one, and when the Makos show up, they have a doctor with them.
They have their own doctor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they have one of the he's a medic, but he's essentially a doctor.
Field medic. Well, that's like a glorified nurse. But I
think the nurses would disapprove of that, but anyway.
Or maybe the medics would. Okay, so then we get into back to the caves. Is this where they detect the life signs?
Yes.
They found the
they find the crystals first.
Yeah.
And he's like, these are so and so, blah blah blah.
More caves, more drops. This is where he says, "Watch your footing," and this is where
and this is where it crumbles.
Yeah. It just like,
and he's gone.
Yeah, and they all like. So Reed goes first. He falls, and then he drags down Trip. And then like and
Trip's like again.
Mayweather's at the back trying.
You guys always dragging me down.
Yeah, they're all 3 of them are getting dragged down. And
they just keep going down though. Like how long have they been going down?
Like it was like they were going on a water slide.
Like they're so deep in this cave though.
Yeah,
and they have to go back up.
Right. That's gonna be
going
like
down is way faster. So they probably have like 10 hours to get down.
What bothers me about this situation is the fact that there's no mode of transport, no like ladders or anything like that. Like they've been there long enough that they could definitely have something. And you get the impression that the Denoblians aren't the only people that have been in this cave.
No.
Like they say there was something
Other
some
species,
people.
and only so much of the caves are mapped. Oh,
Yeah.
Murphy's saying something.
Murphy is right. You have to feel the mountain. Love
You
the
have to
That
feel
is
mountain.
it.
climbed because I think the climber wants to
mountain.
hug
He
the
wants to
mountain.
That
make love
mountain.
to the mountain, and that's
Yes. Like you would Shatner
Might
of the
be a bit of a
mountain.
troll on that statement, but anyway,
make love to the mountain. It is.
Yes.
Anyways, and Mayweather,
you love your
the
mountain, just don't love your mountain.
the best climber of the three, gets his foot broken in this whole exercise.
It
right?
isn't
Imagine
a
how much that would
Mayweather
hurt, though.
episode
That's the
unless he
body
breaks
weight of-
something.
That's the body weight of two guys, and he has to stop that free
Oh, yeah.
fall with just sticking his foot and ankle in that hole. Like, my God.
But honestly, let's be
His
honest here, guys.
ankle
You
is
saw
gone.
these three leave. Mayweather's with them. You know he's gonna break something.
I feel like
Well,
yeah,
they have to get rid of him to do the Reed Tucker buddy cop thing.
yeah, it's like he's the Joe Pesci of this.
He's literally the third wheel. Yeah, he's
Yeah, for sure he is the third wheel.
they're like
Three's Company. You know,
Don't
Dave.
get too excited, Mayweather or Anthony Montgomery. We're writing you out of this episode at like the
Eventually,
32-minute mark, as much as we can. So yeah, they're even though he completely saves the day here, because they would have both been very
He
much
sure
dead.
does. They owe him a beer or two.
Oh yeah, and friggin'
And they're just dumb idiots, like in this whole scene anyway. Like this whole climbing thing, like what a calamity.
oh yeah, like this guy,
They should have just sent Mayweather by himself.
Mayweather and Flox could like I know that he had to have the other story, but that would
Or even
probably
to
be
Paul, like she's physically capable compared to
yeah.
those.
I could even see Hoshi
Like-
being better at this. I don't see Hoshi
I agree.
uh
No, she's very capable.
not looking at her footing and then causing this rock slide and getting them all killed. No.
Well, Hoshi's kind of small. If
Hoshi's
that
pretty
situation had
versatile.
happened,
Like we saw her
It would've
climbing
took
through
Hoshi's
like
leg off.
the ducks and everything in that one episode, and
Hoshi's the best.
Anyways, like there's a
I
whole
definitely
range-
have a new appreciation for Hoshi
Yeah, she's great.
that I don't remember ever having. So
She's the realest character on this show.
Does this shot give you appreciation for Reed?
no, the
Read
end
alert.
credits give me appreciation for Reed.
Just almost upside down and completely helpless.
Look at that bum.
A bum.
She's got a nice.
Anyway, so he scans it, finds out that the foot's broken, and gives him something for the pain. But like, so did Mayweather
Did
just
they
have to
really need the scanner? Like we already know he's broken
Yeah.
something. He's Mayweather.
Shattered that ankle.
Yeah,
ankle is
ligaments
done
too. That's gonna be quite the recovery. I don't know if Flox has got a pet that can cure
for.
that.
He's got a
broken
kneel
ankle.
for that.
Yeah, he's got an eel for that. But did
Oh, yeah.
did they just leave him here in the dark, basically,
Yep.
for
Oh,
hours
he's
and
got a
hours?
For a day and a half, 2 days.
He's
something
got
like
a
that.
light. It's fine.
Oh my god, I would lose my mind if I had to
Didn't
sit in this
provisions.
cave by myself for 3 days, or even for a day in the dark with nothing but field rations and no one to
You
talk
want
to.
to
and
sleep, but if you
No.
fall asleep, you might roll off the
off the
precipice.
cliff. Yeah.
Mayweather did not love the mountain enough.
He
Yeah.
didn't.
Very true.
Because you're in the dark and you're on heights, and and all you got to do is eat field rations, and you have to box up your own poop. That's the rules. So
Them's the
Bag it up.
rules.
and you got to carry that poop out with you.
Yep.
Can't even leave that box poop there.
Keep it light.
Yeah, keep it light.
I still love the med bay in this.
Oh, yeah, it's,
Yeah,
great.
it's
It's
great.
great. It's sad.
It looks
it's
real. It looks like a functioning medical bay, unlike like the TNG one, for example. That's just like this beige
Yeah.
room with a bio bed on it.
I like how he's like, "What the hell are you doing to me?" And he's just scanning you.
You know, the
Like, I'm
Voyager med bay looks
scanning ya,
pretty
ya
good too,
dummy.
actually.
I like
Yeah, the Voyager one's not bad.
Well, apparently the Enterprise D, the one that we see in Next Generation, is not the main sick bay. Apparently, there's like this massive hospital sick bay we never get to see on the show. But
What?
yeah,
Why
Yeah.
isn't the doctor ever in the hospital?
she is? But we never see her there. Like,
Because she has her own private suite version.
there's kind of like a separate like the thing
doctor's
we
suite,
the thing we think is sick bay on Next Generation is more of like a clinic that's kind
her
of adjacent.
office.
Yeah,
That's the
So-
after hours clinic.
right. But there's a like the Enterprise is massive inside, so it has so many more.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
things
it's
we
also
never
got a room for dolphins and stuff too. So,
yeah, it's got cetacean ops and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like they start talking
The D
here.
doesn't have cetacean ops, does it?
the what?
Enterprise
D does.
doesn't have
Yeah,
cetacean
it does.
The D does.
It does have
I didn't
cetacean
think
ops.
it did.
Yeah. So
Mm.
that's good. But anyway, like he starts like this guy Hudak the Antaran, he's like, yeah, like you do you tell your kids about how us awful Antarans, and he really starts like going at Phlox.
And on
right?
top of that, you know how bad it is to have chapped lips all the time.
Yeah. He starts bringing up his son, and we find out we don't even know all this about Phlox's son. That or I didn't know any of this. I'm just like, but I still understood how upsetting this would be for him, And then he loses it on this guy,
I have tried to treat you with respect, but I refuse to listen to these insults. You're the reason we haven't been able to put the past behind us. You have kept this hatred alive. No Denobulan would want to be in the same room with you.
Because you smell.
You smell. And he just walks out, and how many generations this gets passed down, right? And like this goes on all in our own
But
world.
this is even happening on our planet right now. Like there's some countries that have just such a distaste for other countries, and it's been around
for another group or another religion or whatever, right?
Hundreds of years, yeah.
It's still going on today. Although, like, I guess in with Davin's point, like these two planets are so far apart that they don't really ever have to talk to each other if they don't want to. But they share friends maybe sometimes. And
Well, there's that planet they mentioned that like Phlox and his friends.
Yes, later on there was a planet that the Antarans had lived on for a while, and then the Noblians had taken it over. But
so there's some like kind of shared border worlds. They both would like to visit and things, which could be like cause for conflict.
Right. We get the scene here with Phlox and T'Pol, where at first he's like, I want to be alone. And he's like, sorry, I'm being a jerk. So you can come down and watch me eat my pie. But I've always like normally he's the one counseling her, or he's helping her to see the other perspective. And I like the how this was reversed.
I think what's interesting is as this show progresses, T'Pol ends up being one of the people that people go to and talk to, like for various things, which is kind of odd when you think about it, because emotions aren't her highest thing, really.
Right. But this whole story about how when he was a kid and his grandmother said, don't go on this trip to the planet where Antarans have been because now it's gonna be dirty, you can't go. And she's like, well, did you go? And he's like, no, I didn't go. I listened to my grandmother. But when I had kids, I took them to the planet, and I didn't let that happen. Like I tried to teach them different. But then his son ended up a racist anyway.
Stupid Metis.
Yeah, stupid Metis. And so it was this scene very good, well written, and really beautifully acted by John Billingsley. I think
He's a great actor, John Billingsley.
Very good actor.
I'm like, they're finally giving him something really meaty here, and it's near the end of season 2.
Phlox episodes, they give him stuff to work with, though.
Yeah. Right, and I love how T'Pol says, "Well, good thing your kids had such a enlightened parents or enlightened father," and this is where he loses it because he realized he failed with his son.
It's like I certainly tried.
I did try, and that's just like as a father, I can definitely relate to this. So it's anyway. So then we got more of Trip and Reed crawling through. This is a rough go, I like Mayweather did not love the mountain enough. That's right, Murphy.
I already put that one on the screen, Dave.
Did you?
Yeah, you clearly weren't paying attention. Anyway, that's fine.
Anyway, so like Trip's ready to give up, and then this is when I think they finally get some like life signs, and they detect the Denoblians, and then they just kind of walk out here into the clearing. They're like, huh? Hey you.
It's like, what are you guys doing here? It's a really long way down here, right? Like, people just walk into your like 2 kilometers.
By the way, at about 500 feet, there's this ledge that's really finicky, and you shouldn't, watch your step when you're there.
We left a guy up there.
We left
the
the
guy
He's
there with a
fine.
broken ankle and some field rations in a bag he kept pooping.
On morphine or whatever they give you like in the future.
I like how tuckered out Tucker looks though.
Oh yeah, Tucker is
Like
just
Tucker's
he's
just
not
like
having it.
he's not having any of this shit. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we're good. We can't leave. We're doing our science stuff, and he's like, listen, like we're gonna end
But
up.
that's
in
why
front of
he's so mad too.
We're gonna have
Well,
a-
and I just love that look. Like that's actually a great screenshot because you get both of them. Like Reed's got this like kind of distaste.
like I could kill
like,
all of you. He's like,
I'm gonna
probably
just maybe I'll just pull out my phase pistol.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
Tripp's just like, honestly, I'm gonna lose my shit. I've had enough.
Yeah, I love how over it is. Tripp is.
All I know is right now, Phlox is probably eating all my goddamn pecan pie.
Yeah, he's
And
feeding all the tribbles to his lizards and feeling guilty, but about atrocities of previous generations.
They're just all
yeah.
like, "Oh, we're not leaving." Like, we have
Yeah. They're like, how long?
science to do.
He's like, how much longer do you need? They're like, a couple months. He was like, shut
Like
up.
3
Like
weeks or whatever. 3 weeks minimum.
they carried all this gear down with them too. Like it's
They gotta
not
get
only
those
that, but we
Skelhorns out of
broke
there.
a perfectly working Travis, and you know what? We broke that.
Yeah, and he was just like, I didn't come down here for you just to say sorry, but no, thank you. And I love like the rat here. He's like, I'm going to drag you out of here by your ankles if you don't come with me.
Yeah.
I was
He's
like, what
watch
about
me
the will
do
of
it.
the patient?
Just
though?
watch me do
You
it.
can walk
Like, all
out
right,
of
well,
here, or you can be dragged out.
but we have a lot of Speleothems to gather up, so you should help us.
Like, but it's, if the Phlox storyline with the Antaran guy wasn't happening, wouldn't have it been better if Phlox had been part of this story, like, or had been here?
But
To
they
talk to
don't
these
care
guys?
though. They don't care who
They
it
don't give a
is.
shit.
They've even said unless you're from like the science ministry, which Phlox isn't. They don't even care because they're like science ministry wouldn't have sent you down here if they knew how sweet these Speleothems were. They're like,
Well, maybe that's their opinion. We'll take their word for it, I guess. But he was like, he's
exactly.
like, well, if we're leaving, you have to help. And then and Tripp's like,
Yeah.
fine, like we'll help you get your crap out of here.
Now they have to carry rocks like 2 kilometers up a cliff.
Rocks and all of their
Like,
equipment and everything
Of
else.
all things, though, rocks. Like that's so hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
this is literally the last thing you want to like carry.
Not to
friggin'
mention the
rock.
bags of poop that they probably have stored up.
Oh,
So
yeah, they got those.
yeah, back to the ship.
They left those with Travis.
Sam wants to know: are tribbles lizards?
No, they get eaten by them.
No, they're furry.
No, the lizards. They're basically lizard snacks. And then he also says, "Are tribbles extinct in later series of the universe, like Next Gen, DS9, Voyager?"
They
They're
were
mentioned.
until
were.
the
They were.
S9's trials and tribulations, at which point they are then brought back into the future and are alive again.
Yeah, they were the great tribble hunt, as they would say, right?
Klingon warriors, great warriors, brave.
So
they're-
basically, the reason why tribbles are still around is partially because it's Warp's fault.
They were an ecological menace, a plague to be wiped out. Hundreds of warriors were sent to track them down throughout the galaxy. An armada obliterated the triple homeworld. By the end of the 23rd century, they had been eradicated.
Those poor
They still-
reptiles, they obliterated the whole.
yeah, they obliterated the predators too.
Yeah, everything.
Everybody's dead.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, Klingon warriors.
They were an ecological menace.
Well,
Maybe that's what
true,
they were trying
are.
to do with Kronos when Kronos blew up in the thing. Maybe they were
That was
actually just trying to get
Praxis.
rid
What
of
do you
the
mean,
tribbles.
Praxis?
Or
That
Praxis,
was
sorry,
a-
Praxis.
That was
yeah.
a moon. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a tribble on there. They're like, that's it, we're done.
Yeah, that was the fuse.
Yeah.
But so back to this whole Phlox and Hudok storyline, where he's like he starts telling him about his son. We find I was learning this about Phlox's son.
Yeah,
being in the clan or whatever, and you know, and then finding commonality through being parents. I thought that was good.
And scientists, they find.
Yeah,
And they're both scientists. Yes, like. They're both like smart. They're both smarter and better than this, and they can't seem to get past it, right? But well, they do by the end, but it's not easy. I guess is kind of the point.
Like you can almost see the patient that he's sort of just acting this. Like he doesn't like the hostility. Like it even comes off
Yeah, he's still trying to.
Like, this is what's expected of me.
Like the stuff he's saying is so cliche. Just like, oh, you must know a lot about our anatomy because of what your doctors.
Of your
Dude,
biological experiments.
It's like you don't even believe this shit, dude. Like,
yeah, like this would be like a Jewish person like accosting a German person now. Just saying, like, how could you?
300 years from now, or like 200 years from now.
Yeah, right. Even now, yeah, like, but 300 years from now, it's even because like there are people who were alive at that during the Holocaust or whatever, like something like that. But this is so far in their history. It's like,
Flux says his grandmother lived through it because they're
the last war. So his grandmother was at like the end. So there were many wars, and the last one ended 300 years ago. But how long did those wars go on for is not fully fleshed out. And so, yeah, a long time, but they're starting to come around by the end of that scene. And then we get the scene here where it's the Denoblians and Reed and Trip who are like leaving the caves, and they got this lead scientist guy, or one of the scientist guy, who's looking for his box of rocks, and Trip is not having it
because he's got them stashed, like they're already stashed, like halfway up the route.
Right, because earlier in the episode,
he's like, you had more rocks. He's like, no,
pencil case.
Reed thought that the pencil case, he was afraid it might be a bag of poop, you know?
You don't suppose Denobulans carry out everything they bring
in?
Yeah, and he's like, look, I'm looking for my box of rocks. Everyone's like, what's the holdup here? As they climb, like, I would. This is not somewhere you want to like stop and wait. You know, when you're kind of on your stomach, you're crawling through a cave like this. Anyway, you know.
If you don't start moving in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to take my face pistol and shoot you in the ass.
Which might have been the first time in Star Trek we've ever heard the term ass.
Or shoot you in the ass. I wanted him to shoot him in the ass just to see what the result of that would be.
You never know.
But
I don't know.
Anyways, but then like the weapons fire, hence why this is not somewhere you want to stop. No. You know, just in case it caves in on you or whatever. So you know, and then Mayweather back at his on his perch.
Like, I see dead people. They're everywhere.
Yeah, he's just trying not to get
hearing that static.
Nope.
Yes, it's. No. Are you turning your microphone on and off, Jody? Or
no. I am. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
what it is.
Oh, that's what
I'll use the software one. Yeah, no, my dog's running like nuts right now.
Anyway, Mayweather just trying not to die. He's been left here with a broken ankle on a perch. You know. Wasn't expecting a rock slide to come at him here. Poor guy. Anyway, and then they start the climb here. This, like you said, Davan, this would be like just it makes me tired thinking about how long this climb would be back up. You know, considering how long it took them to come down.
It takes a lot more to go up than it does to go down.
Yeah, and then they see this guy. He just starts going up with his gargoyle style. Oh no! First, this rock comes down, almost kills them. I forgot. Make love to the mountain.
Yeah, the Denobuans just climb out. They don't even need ropes or any gear. They just scale cliffs.
Yeah, but I don't know. To Reed's point, it might be good to have a safety harness just in case. But
might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Anyway, so. This is where like Archer calls up the guy who I know that voice. Whoever was the voice of the alien guy, I was like, oh, I'm sure we'll come up in fun facts.
Yeah,
I was like, I know this guy, but he was like finding out that like the rebels are attacking the position, causing instability to the caves, which could get his people killed, right? So, and this is not expected. But they start, there goes the Denoblian up the cave, up the wall, just climbing with his fingernails, basically. And they're just like, damn it. Yeah. And then this scene. What happened in this scene, guys? This is
where he accepts the treatment.
He accepts treatment, yeah.
But here's a fun fact: both the Denobulans and the Antarans end up in the Federation, so they obviously make peace.
Had to work it out.
Societies. Yeah, they had to work it out.
Yeah. Back to the shuttle pod, and here's broken ankle Mayweather carrying these pencil cases of rocks, up the thing.
Real sweet rocks, though.
Yeah,
rare.
They certainly are
very rare. Very rare. He even drops one and causes an issue. But yeah, this is where
He drops one, but he's just like, "Don't worry, I have like 1,000 more. We're already carrying."
yeah. And even at one point, Archer's getting ready to fly down the other shell pod, maybe get shot down by these aliens. But then at the nick of time, the crew, the Denoblians, and the 3 Starfleet officers they're all okay. They all made it out.
Holy Travis, man! He's just...
yeah,
Travis.
he's having it rough. And they head back here, and I don't know, like this moment here where they get shot at a couple times, kind of pointless. But because it was mentally just like, get the hell out of here. You know, you've overstayed your welcome.
Little kick on the bum on the way out the door.
Yeah, it's just a little kick in the bum, you know.
Answer me, Pinkskin.
Okay.
And then here's the scene with Phlox and Archer, where he's like, I was not looking forward to throwing you in the brig for disobeying my orders, and glad it worked out. And Phlox says him too, that they kind of come around here. And then the final scene is here with Archer and the Antaran himself, where, you know, he kind of how he's been changed by the experience of it all. And he's like,
he has to be on the ship with the Denobulans.
Yes, he's like, you want to go with the Denoblians home? And he's like, well, are they going to be okay going with me? And he's like, yeah, you know.
You better figure it out because we're not taking you.
Yeah, you're not coming with us, so see you later.
All they could talk about was Speleothans, so I don't think they even listened to what I was saying to them.
No. Anyway, maybe it will be a bonding experience, and then they leave. So, but there's one more scene. Normally, this would be the end of the episode for an Enterprise episode.
Yeah, usually when
where the ship pulls away.
Yeah, normally this would be the end, but no. But I do really like the scene here with Phlox writing a letter to his son.
Very cool. Yeah,
he's like, Metis, I'm going to try to reach you again, and
no, it's sweet though. He's just like, something I had an experience and it changed something in me, and I hope that can possibly change something in you. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was a really powerful and
much deeper than we usually get in Star Trek.
And I like that it has no resolution, or like I don't know if we'll get a sequel.
No, Star Trek's deep all the time, Jody.
Not all the time, but anyway.
But that's the end. So
all right, time for some fun facts, I guess. There isn't that many of them, quite honestly.
Are you on? You got it on the go?
I'm there. All right. So this episode was directed by Robert Duncan McNeil, who also played Tom Paris in Star Trek Voyager. We already mentioned that, but always good to double check that. This episode marks the first chronological appearance of a Tribble in Star Trek saga. It is also the only appearance of a Tribble in Star Trek Enterprise. So no more Tribbles.
Okay.
So there you go.
He ran out of reptile feed.
The containers carrying the Denoblian rock samples were actually Spacemaker pencil cases.
Yes, I knew they were pencil cases.
There you go. You won that one, Dave.
Yeah,
Dave gets a point. All right. And the style of backpack used by the Enterprise crew members in the caves was a Bob Lee Megapolius backpack, which I guess is a brand. I don't know. But anyway, that's what it is. So basically, Enterprise keeping in tradition of basically buying things at retail and then spray painting them.
That's right.
Pretty much how they do it.
They're not that far in the future. Like their technology wouldn't be that much more advanced.
There you go. But anyway, that's there's not a lot more fun facts, Dave. That's it.
Is that it? Okay.
It's a very you know what? We had a good episode. We didn't need a whole lot of fun facts.
Do you guys want to try? I already have one, Sam.
I have one from Dave's wedding.
Yeah, I mean, I got some cats I could feed.
He could. All right.
Anyway, let's get to ratings.
Let's get to the ratings, guys.
I haven't eaten yet, so I'm hungry. So let's get this moving.
Okay. I was trying to take down Sam's comment. I was like, okay, here we go.
You know, triples are all meat.
What, and fur?
Meat and fur, yeah.
Hmm.
They're boneless, though, I believe.
Do they have teeth? They eat somehow.
Well, they eat, so
The Breach, Jody. What do you give this episode?
This is not nearly as bad as Horizon, even though Davan will tell you differently. I
gotta put my score in for Horizon. Yeah.
It shouldn't be anything bigger than 5, but anyway.
Oh yeah, like it's a 7.
I gave it a 7, Davan. So
Yeah, man, that's what it is. It's a 7. Strong 7. Strong 7.
Sam says he gives it a 7.8 this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Strong.
And you know what? I'm
Sam.
gonna
gonna-
agree with Sam to a degree, but I'm gonna do a 7.5.
7.5. Okay.
Yeah,
Adam,
I would have
you-
liked more action and less Mayweather, but what can you do?
No,
this
that's
was
what makes shows bad.
This was a 7. No, it's all 7.75 for me. So 7.8.
7.5. Okay.
And Kevin not with us. Davan, what's this episode?
I'll give this one an Enterprise 9.
Enterprise. Yeah, you have a different scale. I'm just rounding up to 8 for mine. It's silly. So let's go with for tonight. 8.2 is our
At least
aggregate
until
score.
we get the 2 other guys.
So we get the other 2. See what they want. This has a 7 on IMDb at present. Robert Duncan McNeil, who I don't think has directed an episode before of this show. Oh yeah, he did. He directed a season 1 episid, Cold Front. Okay.
Yeah, Cold Front was him. Yeah.
Cold Front's good.
No, that actually was a pretty good episode.
All right. And are we calling this a Phlox episode?
I still think it's more ensemble.
Definitely.
Even though,
Oh,
yes,
no,
there is
it's a Fox episode.
there's heavy Phlox in it, but there's also heavy 3 other guys.
Yeah, but
They don't do anything. They just climb
Let's just
down
say
a
Phlox
mountain.
anyway.
they
'cause it
climb
really
up.
is
They climb
like
up a mountain, or climb down a mountain, up a mountain, and he threatens to shoot a guy in the ass, and that's kind of I don't know. So that's it. But what's the 22nd episode of?
Well,
season
Dave, I'm glad you asked me because I happen to know that it is.
It's a
I can never
great
remember
episode.
how they pronounced it though, but it's Cogenitor.
Cogenitor?
Congenitor, yeah, something like that.
Cogenitor.
Enterprise encounters the Visians, a race that includes a third gender of congenitors. Was that what you guys said?
Cogenitor.
There you go. Who are treated like second-class citizens. This is actually a very interesting episode, and it is a woke episode from 20 years ago.
But the
So-
B plot is even better because it's just Archer and Andreas Katsoulis who plays Tomalak.
Oh, and James
Yeah.
Katsoulis is in this.
Yes,
Jakar from Babylon 5?
It's just him and Archer hanging
no
out.
one cares
and
about
it's
Jakar
awesome.
from Babylon 5.
He was also Tomalak on Next Generation, but
Yeah,
um,
Tomalak.
yeah. How long must we stare at each other from across the neutral zone?
But it's
Yes,
I remember it being a good episode. LeVar Burton
is.
directs this episode.
This is
so-
great. We got Jakar. We got
This is the sweet spot of the whole series. The end of season 2.
I wouldn't
This
say
is as
it's
good as Enterprise gets.
This is a great area, yes, but I still think some of the season 3 and 4 stuff is really good.
What is Babylon 5? Well,
Yeah, you know what? That's what even people who have watched it ask.
It's
that
irrelevant to somebody your age, Sam. Trust me. It's not going to hold up for your tastes.
question. No,
We're
they're
not like
talking about
it.
rebooting it. They're talking about rebooting it. They've
Oh,
been talking
good.
for
Yeah, on
for-
CW, so it'll be like a bunch of 14-year-olds that they think look good.
It'll be basically Riverdale.
I'll sum it
Yeah,
up for you though,
it'll be
Sam.
Riverdale.
It is a science, and I disagree with Davan. It is a science fiction epic of almost unrivaled. So it's
Oh my god, it's very rivaled, Sam. But
Dave
its
has been
direct rival,
canceled.
DS9
Uh,
is like 20 times better than it.
We had
It's
to cancel
direct
Dave
rival.
because
Yeah.
his opinion is not the popular opinion. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen.
But
Babylon 5 is
so anyway,
I'll be on the
acting's
Babylon.
really bad.
all right, Dave.
Other
Other than
than Andreas
Babylon
Katsoulis.
5, we have a lot of stuff going on this channel in this whole podcast network.
Yes, of
Empire we
course.
have.
Yes. Okay. So Live Long and Podcast. If you didn't know, this is a Star Trek themed channel where we got an eclectic crew here. Actually, I got this.
I have to answer this question here. Davan and Jody, do you like Star Wars? I do.
No,
I do like Star Wars, but I like it for a different
because
reason. I
I'm
like
an
Star Trek.
adult.
Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't
now
ask.
that is questionable.
You didn't ask
at
me,
best.
Sam, but I like Star Wars, but I wouldn't. I'm not a diehard for Star Wars.
Like if I had to pick between the two, I would definitely take Star Trek over
Oh yeah, Star Trek.
Star
is
Wars.
easily-
But I get enjoyment out of Star Wars.
But Star Wars is kind of like hit and miss. Like some of it's good.
Star
and most
Wars
of-
is
most of
not
it
the same
sucks.
thing.
Uh,
When
So
it
it shouldn't
realizes
even be on the
it's a
same
child's
pedestal.
franchise,
Yeah.
they do better when they just accept what they are. It's a child's franchise.
Right.
It's for action figures and
Well,
toys,
obviously.
Yeah, it's more fantasy than science fiction for sure. Anyway, but we don't talk about Star Wars as much on Live Long and Podcast. In fact, we talk about Star Trek. And tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Star Trek Deep Space Nine Rewatch podcast series continues as we continue our journey to watch every episode of Deep Space Nine, review and talk about it. We'll be talking about the episode season 6, episode 3, Sons and Daughters, where Alexander comes back.
Stuff.
It's good stuff. We'll be talking about that tomorrow night.
It's not the annoying Alexander though, so that's good.
It's a grown-up Alexander, post puberty, and
Surfer Alexander.
It's Surfer Alexander. Matt is dad, back from prep school, and we got this Thursday. We'll be talking about the finale of Star Trek Lower Decks season 3. It's called "The Stars at Night." I think it's the episode that we found out the name.
Of Lower Decks? I don't know.
Lower Decks season 3 will be ending this Thursday.
I haven't watched the last episode.
Oh no, is that the end? Well, okay.
The end of the season, yeah. And I think we have
only do 10 episodes.
10 episodes. We got Star Trek Prodigy around the corner too. We'll be returning to talk about that with Davan and Jessica. I guess technically still season 1 of Star Trek Prodigy. And
that's right. They just keep doing.
It's just one.
Didn't you just say that you don't watch Star Wars because you're a grown up?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and what is Prodigy then?
A good Star Trek show.
But it's
good
aimed
Star
at
Trek
kids.
show that is aimed at kids.
It's a Star Trek show geared towards children and still more adult than anything Star Wars has ever done.
I would disagree with that, but anyway.
Yeah. Of course, we got our Star Trek Radio Theater, and then we have our Star Trek Locutors of Trek podcast, including Treckle Trunk, and we got the audio podcast.
That guy.
We got the audio podcast. We got the Class L probes, the Debate 9s, the Trouble with Trivia.
With the other Dave.
Dave Pugsley.
Dave Pugsley.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So lots going on our channel here. You might have noticed we've also posted up a lot of some of our Locutors of Trek interviews, including Michael Chan and Andre Mayette.
I'll get back onto that too.
Back catalog stuff coming up. So check out everything on Live Long and Podcast, as well as within the greater United Federation of Podcasts, which has got so many different members, including we got the Hold Up Podcast, a new podcast started by Chris Murphy and Davan, where they talk about movies. Do they hold up?
Do.
You know, that just debuted last week.
And if you need a guest, Davan, I'd be more than happy to come on that one.
Oh, you want to come on the Hold Up? That's cool.
Yeah,
I
think it's a great concept. I like it.
Yeah, there's also
we picked 3 movies, right? But right now I picked 2, and Murphy picks 1. But when we have a guest will pick 1 as well.
Oh, nice. There we go.
But Murphy picks a new movie because I think most new movies are pretty garbage. So Murphy tries to pick new movies. Yeah, so that's why you would. Yeah, see, most of the guests are gonna probably agree with me that like movies from the past century were definitely better than movies post 2000. But that's what we're searching. We're searching for what movies we should take forward with us into the future.
There you go.
There you
go. What's worthy of the time capsule, I suppose.
Exactly.
And, Dave, we also have Trivial Debates.
Coming up. I was going to go X-rated next.
X-rated. Let's do X-rated. Yeah.
The animated review, X-Men, the animated review show, on hiatus.
I got a lot of shows.
Because Andre is doing a play, I believe.
Yeah, he's directing and starring in a Frankenstein play.
Cool.
Is he playing Frankenstein?
He's the monster.
He's the monster? Right on.
Yeah.
He's also got his podcast, the Graphic Histories podcast, where they talk about comic books, does some in-depth interviews, and goes through the histories of graphic novels. Great stuff. Of course, Super Mater Brothers podcasting. Jeff, Jaemeel, and I talk about reality TV shows like Survivor and Big Brother. And then Trivial Debates. Yes, coming up this Sunday. Get ready to rumble as Jody Simpson.
Sunday.
The Battle of the Blue Nosers. It is the Battle of the Blue Nosers. It's both Halloween themed and video game themed.
Unfortunately, I'm so gonna lose.
Yeah,
but I'll be there.
Davan, you got an uphill battle here.
I do.
Yeah.
He will be fine, just like everybody else will.
Up Citadel Hill, you might. I'd up the Citadel Hill battle, I would say.
Perhaps.
I'm still waiting on Andre's answers, but
he's in a play. He's the monster.
I understand that, so that's why we're waiting.
Yeah,
he'll get him to you. He was asking me how it works. He's just like, how big? He thought he had to write out his entire responses to you. I'm like, oh no. He's like, how long do they have to be? I'm like, no, just give him your choices.
You have a minute. You have a minute to.
And I run the strictest version of this show, so
yeah. So get ready this Sunday morning, October 30th, 10 a.m.
I have rules and I follow them.
And lastly, let's our other friends. We got Michael Chan and Alex Blackburn with their horror podcast on Wednesdays called the Hellbound Podcast. And my son Eamon Mater's got Let's Talk About Fighting Games, which he does under his name Sam Jerka. You know, he'd be in for this video game debate.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in Eamon as
not a video game debate. I just
debates.
use that as the main media.
No, honestly,
So
I think I
couple
can
parts.
do the second video game question. That first, I'm basically.
I think you're going to be fine.
I'm going to have to
Pitch
do
it like a
an hour of
TV show. You'll be
research to
fine.
even to do that first debate.
Question is, when is the next Hold Up episode of Hold Up coming, Davan?
That is actually going to be what's the Saturday or Sunday before Halloween, because we want to get it out before Halloween, and it's werewolf themed. So we're going to be reviewing The Wolfman, the one that started it all, you could say, American Werewolf in London, and Werewolf by Night.
Is that the new one, the Marvel one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched that. It was good.
Yeah, I liked it too. You know, spoiler alert for the show, but it's pretty.
Yeah.
My prediction, I haven't watched the other two yet, though I've seen Werewolf in London before. But my prediction is all three of these may hold up. But like we have a system. If we both agree, it's an A+. It's an A movie. If one of us thinks it holds up, it's a B movie. If we both think it sucks, it's a C movie. Which one of them was last episode?
There you go. Well, okay. Well, we'll check out the next episode of that. And thanks for being with us as we talked about The Breach, this episode of Star Trek Enterprise. Join us next one for the Congenitor.
Andreas Katsoulis.
Andreas Katsoulis of Babylon 5.
Babylon 5 fame, not the other show in this franchise. Of Babylon 5 fame.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, for me, yes. For me, yes. All right. We'll live long in podcast, everybody, and we'll take you out here on a quote. All right.
It's called a triple. It was extremely difficult to acquire. They're outlawed on most worlds. All it's capable of doing, really, is eating and breeding. Problem is, they breed quite prodigiously.
Like David.
The only thing that keeps their population in check is the abundance of reptiles on their homeworld. Are you feeling all right, Ensign?
Jeez.